Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF. Bava Metzia Tzadi Zayin. We are holding at the fifth line off the top of the Amud. Says the Gemara, Hu Gavra. There was a story about this fellow, the Sha'il Shunro. He borrowed a cat, Mechavre, from his friend to clear out the mice. And the mice ganged up on him. Chavur alei achbri. So the mice ganged up on him and killed him, killed the cat. So the question is, who's at fault? We learned yesterday that when you borrow something, you're fully responsible, except for one thing, called mesa machmas malacha. If it died, on the job. The thing just, as it was doing its role, its job, it conked out. Then you're not achroi, you're not responsible. And the Gemara explained, because look, I know I have to look after the animal, but I borrowed it to work with it, right? It wasn't meant for to be put in a cage in the zoo, right? Look, maybe kilta sha'alte, we learned yesterday. So the question here is, Yasser Rav Ashi was sitting and deliberating about this situation. Ki agav namai, what would you say here? Is this fellow responsible for the cat that was attacked by the mice? Should he have expected this to happen and should have looked out for it? Or do you say, well, ki meisa machmas malachadami, it's just it's a job hazard. It's just all a day's work, right? Or not. Maybe he should have expected, he should have looked out for it. He could have anticipated that perhaps the mice will team up against the cat. And he's responsible. So is it called Mesa Machmas Malacha or not? Amalei Rav Mordechai, so he told the Rav Ashi, Hachi Amar Vimi Magrunya, he quoted Rava, Mishmei Rava, with a mashal. Look, Gavra, you have a man, a strong man, the Nashikatlu, who was knocked down, killed by women. Right? He shouldn't have let it happen. There's no question who's at fault. He's to blame. He shouldn't have allowed them to gang up on him. So here as well, this fellow who borrowed the cat, he's not to blame. The cat is to blame. He's not expected to anticipate this to happen. This is not, something he would have expected. Interestingly, they bring over here from a Pirush on the Ein Yaakov called Pirush Haboina. Why did the Gemara pick this mashal here with a man who was knocked down by the Gemara is teaching us self-esteem. A person should not look down on himself, because then it sort of makes him susceptible to be, taken over and ruled over by people that are, by weaker forces than himself. Rather, he should view himself as, with a full confidence, full self-respect and self-esteem, like a man. In which case, he'll overcome all adversity. Interesting lesson presented here in the Gemara. So bottom line, this fellow is pater. Okay, next story. Ikadam, there's another version of the same story, that he borrowed the cat to devour, to eat up the mice. And what happened? He did too good of a job. Ochel achbri tuva, he ate one too many. V'chavel meis, and he got heated up and he died. So the question is he responsible? Is it called mesa machmas malach and he's pater, or do we say he should have looked out and kept check on the cat? Amar le Rav Mordechai Rav Ashi, once again, no, he's not to blame. Hachi Amar Avim Magruni quoted, he quotes Ravim Magrunia, Gavri, a man who was physically involved in too many women, and therefore he was overwhelmed and he died. There's no question who's to blame. He's at fault. In this case, the cat is to blame and not the fellow who borrowed it. Listen to this. If a person wants to borrow an item from his friend and be exempt from, responsibility, you know what he should do? He should ask his friend Reuven, listen, do me a favor, Ashkain Maya. As he's about to borrow the car, say, could you pour me a drink of water? In this case, it turns into the Havish Elav Bailam. He borrowed it together with the owner who was serving him at that very moment. And that exempts him from Einas, right? Now let's say the lender, the owner, the Reuven, is a smart fellow, and he realizes what this fellow has in store for him. So how does he bypass this? Namely, he tells him, look, Shal Beresha, sure, I'll lend you the car. Here, take the keys, borrow it, and then, here's the drink. In this way, at the moment that he borrowed, right, the Sha'as She'ela, which is the critical moment, he hasn't been serving him, so it doesn't really apply. Amar Rava, Mikri Dardaki. You have the teacher, the Cheder Rebbe in the town. Shasla, like a landscaper, a fellow who's hired to plant your vines for commission, like a sharecropper. Tavcha, he's a shoichet, v'umna, a bloodletter. Saper, Masa, he's the town's barber. Kulhain, all these individuals, be'idan avidtaya, when they're working, kishe'elu b'baylam damas, if you borrow something at that moment, since he's serving you at that moment, it's called she'ela b'balam. Now, from Rashi, it's mashma. It sounds like he was serving him at that very moment. So it was in the middle of the haircut, and then, other Rishonim will learn, that wouldn't be much of a chiddush, obviously. I mean, if he's serving me, so that's she'ela b'balam. The point here is that since he's available, right, he's a town's barber, he's open from 9 to 5, available to give haircuts. So throughout that entire day, he's considered at my service. In which case, it's called She'ela B'Baylam if I borrow something from him at that very moment. Interesting twist. Amr le Rabbanan l'Ravas. The Rabbanan from the Beis HaMedrash, the Talmidim, they turned to Rava, who was the Rosh Hashiva, Shor Lanmar. You're loaned to us, so to speak. Rashi says, Rabbeinu nishal lonu l'malachtenu. L'l'moed lanu Torah. She'yoyishiva malam. Rashi around halfway down the oven. She'yoyishiva malam lanu Torah kol hayom. Look, you're sitting, teach us Torah all day. You're serving us. V'im nishal mimenu behema umeisen efater. In which case, if we go and we borrow your car, we're pater. She'elo v'balam, because you're loaned to us the entire day when you're teaching us Torah. Ikpitz, he wasn't too happy about this proposal. Amarlu, he tells them, you're trying to extract my money? I mean, what are you trying to do? Adra, if anything, it's the other way around. You're serving me. Atun, she'iltun li. You know why? Dilo, because look, on my end, I have the prerogative. I can switch mesechtas if I choose to switch to a different mesechta if I, feel it's more important for me to review the other mesechta, right? I'm in the driver's seat. I could sort of shift from one masechta to the other at will. But you can't choose any masechta you want. So basically, you're sort of committed to me, not the other way around. Says the Gemara, it's incorrect. It's not that Rava was totally loaned to them or the other way around. It depends at what point in the year. Yom Kala were those days when they used to get together before the Yom Tov and learn about the upcoming Yom Tov. So during that seminar, so to speak, he was loaned to them because he can't switch the topic. He has to discuss the upcoming Yom Tov. So he's committed to them. Whereas for the remainder of the year, in who they are, Shilulei, they are loaned to him. They're committed to him, to serve him, to listen to his learning, Bishar Yaimi, throughout the rest of the year. Merema bar Chanina, that was his name. He hired out one of his donkeys to the people of Bechuzai. Nafak lidluya tu'una ba'dayu. And as they took the animal, he went out to help them load up the animal. Pashubo mis. So they were negligent, and the animal died. Also, they come to Rava. Chayvinu. He required them to pay for the Amalei Rabban turned to Rava. What do you mean? Shiva ba'alami. Sure, they were negligent, but the owner was right there and serving them. That's called Bava Metzia. He was embarrassed. He didn't have an answer. Turns out he wasn't trying to help them load up. He was trying to inspect how heavy that load was, whether it was within these animals' load capacity. So he wasn't helping them at all. He wasn't loaned to them. There was no balavima in their chayiv, which fits with what Rava said. Asks the Gemara, what's the whole issue to begin with? I mean, they were pesheya here, right? So if you go according to the view that when you're doing pshia with the owner's presence, you're exempt, okay, that explains why he was taken aback and whatever. But if you hold that pshia b'balam is not pater, as we had a few days ago, so why was he stumped? Answers the more, you're right, there was no pshia here. There was no negligence. What happened was it was stolen from them and it died naturally in the Gana's possession. V'osel kamed Rava. And then they approached Rava, and he obligated them to pay. And Rashi explains because, as soon as it was taken from them by way of this thievery, that's it. They're chayiv right then and there. Who cares what happens later if they died naturally or not? The fact is, as soon as it was taken away from them, it's lost from the owner. They're chayiv. On that, the Rabbanan challenged Rava. Okay, you're chayiv because of a gneva? Amrle Rabbanan Rava. What do you mean? But it's gneva b'ba'alam, because we thought that the owner was coming to help them load up the animal. Yichsiv, so he was embarrassed, and it turns out it was a mistake. L'soif b'lei milsa. Turns out it was discovered he wasn't trying to assist them. Rather, he was trying to inspect, and police what they were doing. Says the Mishnah, Shoyel es aporo. So Shimon borrows a poro, sha'ala chatziyim, usachara chatziyim. Until 12 o'clock, it's alone. Starting 12 o'clock, I'm paying you for that use. So it's partial loan, partial rental. Or another case, sha'ala hayim, v'sachala machar. He borrowed it Sunday, but rented it for Monday. Sachar achas, sha'al achas. A third case, he borrowed 2 animals. One he loaned, and one he rented. Umesa, and the animal died. The question is which one, when, what time, right? Hamashal, so the owner says, well, it died, right? Eines, but it was Shula Mesa. Right? In the third case where there were 2 animals, I'm telling you, it was the one that was borrowed that died in your chayev. Because a shayel is chayev even for Eines. I understand a seicher is pater for Eines, but this animal that died was the one you borrowed. Or in the a second case where it was a matter of days, right? One day was loan, one day was a rental. So he says, I'm telling you, it died on the day that it was borrowed, on Sunday. And regarding the first case, where the day itself was split into 2 parts, I'm telling you, it was it was until before 12 o'clock when it was in a loan state. So that's the owner, okay? So he's certain that you have to pay. Shimon responds, any day, you know what, I'm not sure what time, what day, which one, chayiv, he has to pay. Rashi says, bari b'shema, bari aleph. When you have somebody that's certain and somebody that's uncertain, the bari, the one that's confident, he wins. What about if the seicher, Shimon is the one who is bari, versus the owner who doesn't know? HaSeicher, the renter claims, schura mesa. So this is referring to the third case. Was a choice between the shula and the schura. He says the one that was rented, that was the one that died. I'm potter. Or in the second case where it was a matter of days, but it died on Monday when it was rented. Or in the first case when it was a matter of hours, it died during the rental time. The owner says, I'm not sure, potter. In this case, it switches around. He's potter because he's the one that... Third case, Reuben says it was the borrowed one. Shimon says it was the rented one. I'm potter. So now Shimon has to swear that in fact he's right. And Rashi says, what do you mean? What do we find such a shvua? That you have to substantiate this type of argument with a shvua. The Gemara will discuss it. Okay, case number 4. Reuben and Shimon are not sure. Both don't know what happened. In this case we say it's called mamoin mutal besafek. It's money that's in a state of uncertainty, and we say yachleiku, they split it 50-50. So now in the first case, or in the second case, we seem to say, Shamas Minei, we seem to include from here, that Manali biyadcha. Reuben tells Shimon, look, you owe me money. Shimon says, I'm not sure. Bari against a Shema. What does the Mishnah tell us? Who wins? The Bari, Chayev. He has to pay. But that's not so clear. It seems to be inconsistent with Rav Nachman's opinion, who says that even when there's a Bari against a Shema, so what? You can't extract money just based on a claim. The Itma, as we learned, Manali biyadcha, look, you owe me money. The fellow says, I'm not sure. Rav Yehuda, they both hold that he has to pay Amri Chayev, because Bari against a Shema, Bari wins. Rav Nachman, Rabbi Yehuda Amri, no, Potter, he doesn't have to pay. Rashi explains, the money stays where it is, in its owner's possession. You can't force it out because of a suffix, once you have a proof, right? Just because he's not sure, it's not enough basis for obligating payment. So why now Mishnah does he have to pay? Answers the Gemara, here it's different. K'da'amar Rav Nachman. As Rav Nachman tells us elsewhere, we're speaking that there is some sort of oath arrangement going on here. Here as well, we're speaking what happened was that Shimon had some sort of oath, some sort of shvua to make. And since he can't really substantiate his claim, he doesn't know. So when you have a chiyuv of a shvua and you can't make a shvua, then you have to pay. How exactly did this, what exactly is going on? That he's chayiv shvua and he can't make it. Okay, the Rav, as Rav explains. The Amar Rav, Reuben tells Shimon, look, you owe me money, right? Shimon says, look, I owe you only 50. This is the classic Moed Miktsas, right? Partial admission, which typically triggers a shvua on Shimon's part. He has to go and substantiate his partial denial. But the problem is, he's not really denying the other 50. He's not sure. Regarding the remainder, the other 50, I'm not sure. So on the one hand, he's chayiv a shvua, but he can't swear. So his hands are tied either way. The halacha is, if you can't swear, then you have to pay. So based on this principle, we will understand the Mishnah as well, because likewise it's speaking where there is such an element of chiyuv shvua without the ability to swear. Mishkachas la. So the Mishnah will happen like this. Reisha b'beis v'seifa b'gimel. So the Mishnah will now sort of splitting into two parts. We have three cases, right? He borrowed one animal. Part A was she'ela. Part A was schirus. Second case, he borrowed one animal. Sunday was a loan. Monday was a rental. That's called a reisha. The first two cases are the reisha. Seifo is speaking about the third case, where it involved two animals. One was a loan, and one was a rental. Okay? So reisha, in order to properly explain the first part of the Mishnah, and inject this element of Esek Shavua, it must be that there were two paras. V'seifa b'gimel, and regarding the next part of the Mishnah, the third case, evidently there were three animals. Let's see. Reisha b'beis. The first part is speaking that there are two animals. The Amalei, Reuben tells Shimon, beis paras mesarti lach. Look, remember I gave you two animals? Pal g'diyami b'sheila, pal g'diyami b'schirus. Right? Half day was a loan, the rest was a schirus on both animals. Inami, or, in the second case of the Mishnah, one day azoy, right? Chad yom b'sheila, Sunday they were both being lent to you. Chad yom b'schirus, Monday both rented to you. This is all, Reuben speaking. And I'm telling you, I know for a fact that both animals died when they were being loaned, whether it was the hours or it was the day that they were being loaned. Okay, so basically, although they died, you pay me because it's an aynas, you're a shayl, you're a chay. V'amar shayl, and Shimon responds, look, part I admit, the other part I don't know. It's like the 50 I admit and 50 I don't know. Chada, regarding one animal, yeah, you're right. Incorrect. Be in the shayla mesa, it died while it was being loaned, and I have to pay you for it. Regarding the other animal, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened. Whether it was being loaned at the time or it was being rented. So we say, look, too bad on you. If you admit it partially, that's a moed of miktsas, which typically triggers a shvur, but you can't make a shvur because you're not even sure what happened. Since you can't make a shvur, you have to pay. So that's regarding the first part of the Mishnah. And let's just move on another piece here regarding the next part of the Mishnah, where it was two animals, right? Evidently, it's speaking that he actually lent him three. So we have to add another animal to the case of the Mishnah to properly explain the Mishnah. The Amalei, Reuben tells Shimon, Gimel, Poros, and Satiloch. Remember, I gave you three animals, Beis, B'Sheila, V'achas, B'Schirus. Two I lent you, and one I rented to you. Umeisu hanitarti d'Sheila, and two animals died. Two died. Which ones? The ones that were being loaned, and you're chayav because it's an oinus. V'Amalei Sheila, and again the borrower Shimon responds with a sort of iffy response. Incorrect. Chada d'Sheila Meisa. I know for certain that the one that died, one of the two that died was a shula. I have to pay for it. But the other one, I'm not sure. Whether it was the one that was borrowed that died, or the one that survived was the one that was rented, or the other way around. I don't know. Either schirus mesa, the one that died was the rented one, the one that survived was the borrowed one. I'm not sure. So again, it's the same story. Since he's stuck, he has to make a shvur, but he can't. The halacha is that he'll have to pay. So basically, we had a kasha. How are we obligating him to pay? It's just it's one against one. It's he said, right? Bari v'shem, according to Rav Nachman, you don't win a case like that. The answer is, there's much more than that. There was a Esek Shvur, which compelled him to swear because of by the Miktsas, and since he couldn't, because he was uncertain as to the exact details of the story, and therefore he has to pay. So that's basically the Mishnah, the Gemara. Let's just recap the Gemara Amud Aleph as well. We had the story with the cats and the mice. He's not responsible. We had the story with the fellows that are serving the townspeople. They're called the She'ela B'Bailim. And regarding the Rebbe in the yeshiva, at what point is he considered Sho'el, what not? And the fellow who rented the mule, we figured he was helping them. Really, he wasn't giving them a helping hand. He was actually supervising, in which case it's not called She'ela B'Bailim. All the best to you, and that's Lachra.